Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Build Your Best Life. I'm Coach Deborah, and I am super excited to have you here with us today. I have a guest all the way from Texas. Hi, Sean. How are you?
I am good, Coach Deborah. Thank you once again for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for coming. We thank everybody that's going to tune in here today with us. We appreciate you with your prayers, for your likes, your comments, your shares, and please continue to share, because the more of you that share, the more people that we can reach all over the world. We want to get this content out to our young men as well as our single mothers that are raising sons, and so that we can help all of them to build their best lives. So thank you all so very much. As always, I know this is going to be a topic that will be helpful and useful. And so we're not going to linger alone here. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I know Sean's been here multiple times, and you'll always see his face. He always brings some great content to the platform. He's one of our board members. So, Sean, how about telling everybody who you are and what you love to do?
Well, my name is Sean Smith, born and raised in Nassau, Bahamas, in the Grantstown Farm Road area. I live right now in the Dallas, Texas area, Denton to be precise. I'm a small business owner. I have a small entertainment company, and I am just a servant. My purpose is to serve and to leave this place better than I met it by just impacting the people around me and just living life abundantly.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, there are a lot of things that we can do in life. We can do those things where people see us. We can just be loud. We can be flamboyant. We can do a lot of things. But one of the things that are important is our faith and our character, the foundation of a strong life. Who you are matters more than what you achieve. So today we're going to be talking about character over clout. Character over clout. I want you to think about that. Put it in the chat, as a matter of fact, so you can remember that. Character over clout.
Yes, that
So,
it's so that one over the other. That's kind of what gets me, one over the other.
yeah,
Yeah, great conversation today.
right. Um, so what is character? When you think about it, what is character, and why is it essential for young men to manage their character?
When I got the topic for today, I went back to my days of high school. The first thing someone gave you a word back in the day, we would run to Webster. What does Webster say about what does Webster say about this? The definition of this word, and of
Mhm.
course nowadays you just go to a computer and type it in, uh, and the computer, it came up with what a definition of character, and it says that character is the mental uh, mental qualities that an individual would have. Uh, and so with that, I would add on to it. Character to me is doing the right thing when no one is looking.
Mhm.
Doing the right thing when no one is looking. And in today's society, I mean, cameras are everywhere, everywhere. So when you think no one is looking, someone is actually, Big Brother is looking down at you. So
Right.
just doing the right thing when you think no one is looking at you. And of course, for us, people of faith, God is always watching. So you might think no one is watching, but someone is definitely watching and looking over what you do. Uh, why do young men need that today? It's important because your character speaks to who you are and definitely where you can go if you have the right character. I was so blessed. in my upbringing that everywhere I went, I had individuals who took me under their wings, who looked out for me because of my foundation, because of my character. They saw something in me that either they had or they were raised with, or even growing up in my village, once they heard that I'm a Smith, they were like, "Well, who's your family? You know, what Smith? Smith from where? Oh,
Mhm.
which one of those brothers is your daddy?" You know, uh, and so that spoke loud to me in my walk. I had to walk a certain way because I was Sam Smith's son. And being
Mhm.
Sam Smith's son, everyone knew Sam Smith. So if a bad report went back, I would have problems. So that kind of helped build my character along with my foundation because I know I had to act right, you know. And because of that, a lot of people, like I said, took me and said, "Hey, come over here, let me show you how to do this." Or come over here, let me teach you how to do that. Uh, but it even builds more. It helped me in building me, building more character in me, because those persons pour what they had from them even into me. So it's very important for young people, young men, to have character, to stand for something rather than falling for anything. Uh, like my old friends used to say, you got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything.
Right. Yes, that's good. And it starts even when they're younger because I know I work in children's ministry and you have certain children that they're just always just so mannerable, they're just so quiet, they just sit there and they raise their hands like they're supposed to. And so when someone comes and say, "Well, that person hit me," and I say, "You
Mm,
hit them?"
no.
No, and I don't have to think about it twice because I know
Yeah.
that person didn't hit anybody.
Yeah.
So it's good to have that behind your name. Your name means something. So I know if it was that young lady, no, 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 I don't believe that.
Yeah.
If she said she did it, then that's a different story. But no, because her character, her name goes before her. And that is so important. And I've told this story before, and I think this has been a couple of years ago now, but Jerome Bettis, who used to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, told a story about when his dad dropped him off to college and say, "Hey, now you take in our name, don't mess up our name. That's our name." So that in other words, don't go there cutting up. Like you
Yeah.
say, just because you think I'm not watching, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna know what you're doing. Go and act like we raised you the correct way. So that can go a long way.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, in my village, if when something happened, in school or in church, before you got home, your parents already knew what happened. I mean, and so for us, it was like, okay, you can try to. In fact, uh, funny story. I had a teacher who taught my in high school. He taught my cousins, my sisters, and a junior high teacher told him I was coming, and I didn't go into the program that he was a part of. He was in home ec, but I went to music, and I dodged him for a year. I literally dodged him for a year, and he finally saw me, and he roughed me right up. But you know, he knew I was coming, so he was looking out for me. He was watching. He was on a watch, and he saw
Mhm.
where I ain't seeing him yet. What's going on? But I was in music, and I was just doing my thing. Didn't want to go into the cooking area. That my dad was a chef, and so everyone knew him, and so I said, I'm gonna do this over here. I'm gonna be but at the same time too, at high school, everyone already knew who I was. That's Suzette's brother. That's Patrice's brother. That's Nisi's. Rudy's nephew. I mean, a cousin. So it spoke largely to us growing up in terms of who you were and your family name. You couldn't mess it up. because they would have exactly what happened, and you would get dealt with accordingly. So you had to have that character.
That's right. That's good stuff. Yes. So, how is faith lived daily? What things can strengthen or weaken integrity?
I think our faith is tested every day. When I think about faith, I think about Job. Job had everything,
Mhm.
and it was taken away from him. And his wife, his helpmate, was like, "Listen, curse God and just be done with it. You can die, you can rest." And Job was like, "No, everything was taken away. I mean, his family, his riches, but he had faith and trust in God that he kept the faith, and God restored everything to him, doubled." So when I think about faith, you know, days may be hard, times may be hard. We're living right now where a war is going on. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. When we travel these lines, I was looking at something today. Someone stood in a line for 9 hours just to catch a flight. That's unheard of. But we can't get discouraged. My mom would always say, "We're in this world, but we're only pilgrims passing through." So we have to keep the faith. We can't let things that is of this world, get to us and make us, uh, like Joe's wife say, curse God. God is still in control. God is, our rock and our salvation. So we have to keep the faith, even when time. And in fact, when times are hard, that's when you really need to keep the faith. In hard times, that's when your faith is really tested. You know, I was listening to a priest on Sunday, his sermon, and he said that he got called to the hospital and to give this lady last rites. He went in. He was a young priest, gave this lady last rites, and thought that she would, her family was called in to come and see her for the last time. And so some time left over, he got sent to an island, and he came back to Nassau, and he was grocery shopping, and he was walking through the aisle, and he saw, "Is this the same lady I gave last rites to?" And it was the same lady, and he didn't say nothing. He just thanked God, because when man gave up on us, God is still in control.
That's right.
So she didn't die. God allowed her to get to she was healed. So even though that he gave her last rites, she was still there. God said, "No, ain't your time yet." So faith, if you have faith as what they say, as small as a mustard seed, he's able. So faith is very important, especially in times when times are hard and times are difficult. You really need to keep the faith. I know that's easier said than done, but it can be done if you surround yourself with the right people and if you surround yourself in the right place.
That's right. That's good. So, how can youth build strong values? They got to have those values.
I would say that youths can build strong value by, if you're an eagle, hang with eagles. If you're eagles, don't get down, and hanging out with chickens. We call it in the Bahamas fowls. Don't hang with fowls. If you're an eagle, continue soaring with eagles. Surround yourself with like-minded people.
That's
You
right.
know, when you surround yourself with like-minded people, when you surround yourself with people who are about something and who is trying to get to somewhere, 9 out of 10 times they'll take you along if you want to ride. You know, my mom, uh, she'd always when she'd be leaving the house, she'd say, "Hey, I'm about to leave." And so for me, when I heard that, I'm running in the car and I'm jumping in because she will jump in that car, and I don't care where she is, she's pulling off. And if you're not in that car, and you're supposed to be in that car, you will have to run that car down. But you have to surround yourself with people and things and that really is going to occupy your time positively. You know, youth based church youth based groups are often good. Some Kavanas, well in the Bahamas we have Kavanas sponsored youth, but you have Rotary, just stuff like that that would keep you, kind of grounded or keep you. What old people say, the devil find work for idle hands. Do not let your hands be idle. You have to be doing something. And once people, we have a saying, and I go out to old sayings that come from the Bahamas. If you make one step, God is going to help you make the next step. You just need to make that one step. So if you make one step and it's like if you're trying to, back in the day, you people used to hike ride going places. I heard a guy say one time he would never pick up someone who's hiking a ride who's just standing still with their thumbs out. Now, he'll give someone a ride if they're walking on the side. If they're walking and they're trying to get someone, he'll stop. Hey, where you going? He'll give that person a ride because that person's already trying to help themselves by moving. So you have to get involved with something or some organization that is going to keep you from being idle and who's going to try to help you to get to the next level. And if you want to get to the next level, you have to start walking. You have to start doing something on your own to make that happen. And once you do that, God is going to send someone to alongside you. I've been in Texas for about 30 years now, and since I've been here in Texas, I've been blessed to be. I've had people who've taken me under their wings. People who've been praying with me and praying for me since I've been here. There is not, when I first got here, there is not a Christmas, Thanksgiving, or any type of holiday that I spent alone. Now I might not have my mom and dad and sisters here with me, but I've had people who have become that village for me. And so you have to find that village to help you to get to help you from being idle and help you to get to the next level.
Yeah, that is so important to do. Like you say, you can't do things by yourself. And, we need people. A lot of people say, well, I don't want to be bothered. I don't want this. I don't want that. But we need people. And there are just so many people that are genuine and can help you. And like we said earlier, you want to be with like-minded people. If you're eager,
Yes,
you don't want to be down there with others. But when you get along with those people and they got positive mindset, just like you do, they're trying to be successful, have good ethics. Hey, you can do so many great things together.
definitely. Coach, church down here in Texas, they have their motto is "No one walks alone," and Coach always talks about there's always someone assigned to you to help you. There's always someone assigned to you. You just need to ask for help or go and start walking, and someone will be there to walk on the side beside you.
That's right. Yes, and I want to take this opportunity to thank those that are tuned in. We're talking about character over clout. Good evening to Yvonne and Dan. Thank y'all for tuning in. And if you have not subscribed to my YouTube page or like the Facebook page, please do so that I can see your names pop up so I'll know who you are and can give that shout out to you. But if you have not been on the entire time, please, in your leisure, go back and listen to this in its entirety because these are some key aspects of character and what character and integrity means for each of us. It's not just for our young men, it's for me, it's for Sean. We should care about who we are, our name, making when someone hears our name, they can think good things. Well, do you know? Because okay, where you go, there's going to be somebody that
Yep.
knows you. So somebody runs into somebody. Oh, what church do you go to? Oh, do you know? Do you know Sean? Well,
Yep.
so yeah, and so certain people, everybody is not does not know Jesus. So some people are gonna try to be derogatory, or they gonna say, "Well, did you know about 25 years ago?" No, I don't know. I know he's a good person. We've had so many great conversations. Me and my husband, we just love him to death. That's all I kind of know about him. He's a family man. Tries to help people. So when you have that good name and you always carry yourself in a way like somebody's always watching, then that's a good thing. And that's how we should be.
Definitely, definitely. It speaks volume. You said something a minute ago in terms of, you know, no matter if you're watching now, if you watch this later, something is gonna in here for you. So you go back and watch this and pass it on to your friends and young people in your circle. Uh, this is good stuff for everybody. And then too, for us as older people, we have to. I was just telling Coach Deborah earlier about a service I got the other day. Our young people need help, and we have to be that lighthouse. We have to be that example to show them. Listen, there's a better way. And if you do this, if you do that, if you do this, you can get to this level. So we have to pass this on to them. We have to leave something uh, to them. I heard uh, Steve Harvey was talking about not leaving anything for his children in terms of money. Money is good, and everyone needs money, but we have to pour into our kids and our family. We have to pour into stuff that really matters, like character and faith and love. Those stuff will be around forever. When money, let's say silver and gold have I none, but such as I have I give to you. And that's more spiritual stuff. That's stuff that no matter where you go, no one can take away from you. You know, and character being one of those things.
Yes, it makes a difference because people look at the material things. They don't think about that legacy or what you can leave as far as ethics, integrity. And I don't know why I was talking the other day. I said, well, when I had my oldest son, I was single. We didn't have that much. I couldn't, splurge and give him a lot of things. But I did, try to teach him how to treat other people, how to act whenever he got a job, what to say and do if law enforcement ever stopped him or whatever. And so now I think about it, when he talks about himself on his job, he's been on his job, I know now at least 20 years, probably longer than that. But to hear him when he's saying, when I know he's on the way to work, and I always taught him, if you're supposed to be to work at 8, that doesn't mean you're driving in the parking lot at 8. At 8, you're at your desk, you're ready to work. And to hear them, talk about what time they get to work, or if I talk to them and it's like before time and they're there, and to know that they, always thinking outside the box, doing extra, not trying to get away with stuff. Is like, I might have not had a lot of money, but I did teach him something, So
And that's good. That's good. I mean, and for me, my mom and my parents, you know, uh, me and my sister laugh about it. My dad was such a stickler. Uh, he was going to a funeral for somebody at our church, and my mom and my sister was going along, was attending, supposed to be attending as well. My dad took my sister keys and said, "Hey, you and your mom meet me there." You know, he had a thing for being on time, and I have the same thing where if I'm late, I don't want to go. If I am late, I don't want to go. And oftentimes when I sit down with my clients, I tell them, I'm not perfect and I'm not a stickler. However, here's what I need, and here's what I'm about, and I need you to answer these questions because I don't want, it's just the way I was raised, and my dad was, and so he poured that into me as well. I'm a stickler about being on time. I'm a stickler about the details. Give me what are the details? All right, long and short of it, give me the details. Once I get the details, I'm gonna take it from there. I don't want to be late. I hate being late. I'm especially for church. I'm not walking in church late. Now I've been late before, but I'm late and I'm upset with myself. But if I can help it, I'm not being late. I'd rather sit and wait rather than coming in, rushing in, being late. Because you never know what's gonna happen.
Say
On
that
time.
again, Sean. Say that again.
You gotta be on time. You never know what's gonna happen. You rushing out, and then you got your tire is flat. You're rushing out, or you're out of gas. Now you got to go stop at the gas station and put the gas in the car. Then there's an accident on the highway.
Yeah.
There's an accident on the highway that shuts down the highway, and then you're there. Oh, all right. If you're wake up a few minutes earlier, the day before, if you kind of all right, I know my gas tank is a little low. Let me go and get gas now. So in the morning, I don't have to get up and rush to get gas. Because what if that gas station is order regular or order whatever type of gas you have? So now you got to go, another 2 miles, another 5 miles to other gas station. So you never know. I'm a brigader. Boys Brigade is something like Cubs and Scout, and it was founded by William Alexander Smith, another Smith. And we were taught always to be prepared, always to be prepared, always be prepared, sure and steadfast, but always be prepared. You never know what's gonna happen, so you have to prepare. It's like a thief coming in the night. You got to be prepared.
Yep. That is so right. So many people just don't care because my husband be opposites with that because he knows this is how long it takes you to get somewhere. So that's when he wants to leave. I'm like you. No, I don't want to be late. I don't know what I'm going to run into. I get my clothes up the night before and
Yep.
I'm ready to go. And it is so funny sometimes, like I might have a 3 o'clock appointment and I'm actually walking out the door. I already had my appointment when 3 o'clock's come because I was there early and somebody else might have been late. So I was in and out, but
Yep.
I'd rather just sit there because, I think because you've ever been to an appointment and you're like, well, why are they running behind? Because it was somebody that was late and then that throws off the entire
Yep.
day.
The whole thing. The whole thing gets thrown. A wrench gets thrown into operation. And my wife is like that too. She'll if we got to be there at 8. She oh, we can leave. We can leave with 7:45, 7:50. No, 7:30. I mean, if it's only like 5 or 10 minutes, but still 7:30. Let's get there on time. We can sit down. We can relax. I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm like my dad. Here, meet me there. Take separate cars.
I feel you. So, as we talk about this, we're not trying to say that every day is a good day, that everything always runs smoothly. Some things they don't, but you want to do those things that will assist you in making things better because when things go awry, that's when you get stressed, you get anxious, you might say or do something that you shouldn't do. So we're not saying everything's perfect, but you want to try to make your day, your situation, and those things that impact other people as best as you can. So you have to think about, if I tell somebody I'm going to do something and I don't do it, how does that impact them? No, I don't care because, I'm
Yeah.
doing what I want to do, but how does it impact that person? And that's all a part of being integrous and even acting like you care about other people. Because if you care about somebody, you care about how you make them feel.
Oh yeah, it's like taking a stone and dropping it into a pond or a lake, and all you see is a little ripple effects.
Mm.
So it's a ripple effect. And like you said, we're not saying you have to be perfect, but practice make perfect. So if you have some good habits that you adhere to, you know, 9 out of 10 times you're gonna be good. You know, you have 1 or 2 times where it's a little off, but if you practice the right way, you know, NFL and professional players always talk about practice. You know, practice make perfect. And if you do it right in practice, when you get on the big stage, you know, it'll be perfect. But you know, every day, like you said, Coach, every day is not going to be right. But uh, if you practice it to be right, you know, 9 out of 10 times ain't bad. You know, you have 1 or 2, but you know,
Yeah. So, what kind of things would test your character?
you know, I was uh, I was thinking about that. And I was thinking about that because there's a lot of things today, especially for young men, that can test your character. You know, one of the biggest things to me is social media. Social media. I think today's kids, we're so everything is instant and everything is on social media. You see, I mean, you see everything. You see everyone. We see everything that everyone is doing, from going on dates to sitting down in a restaurant to what they're eating, and that can that can that can impact you negatively and positively. For social media, those people who do that for a living, that's positive. But for you, looking at somebody and what they're doing, and then trying to imitate or duplicate it, that can that can impact you negatively. You know, if all you're doing is looking at social media, all you're doing is looking at, you know, these Instagram, uh, you know, posting. Oh, this person is doing this and this person is doing that to get rich, but you don't see the work. I tell people a lot of times. You know, I have a entertainment company, and so people see the performance that we do in terms of for example a disc jockey, a DJ. You know, for a wedding, I'll take notes and get everything and put it together. And so that takes days and months of getting everything together. But when I go out and perform, they only see the performance. They don't see behind the scene all the work I had to do in order to make the performance. So I think a lot of times people see the glamour and the glitter and they think it's a bed of rose. There's hard work behind the scenes. There's hard work behind, you know, behind all of that. So social media can be a really a negative and a challenge. Finances can cost you, you know, to can cost you to struggle with your character. You know, you work in a bank and you see you touching money every day, and so you touch the money and you put it and you walk out. Well, that goes to your character, you know, because you can end up in jail for that, you
Yeah.
know. And then you see this, and that goes back to you. Now you did that because you see the social media people, they flossing, you know, they wearing the finest uh, sneakers, or they, you know, wearing the finest clothes, the Gucci's, the Louis, the red bottoms.
All
The
right.
females, they got the coach. And what else? What else? What kind of person, Coach Deborah? Help me with this one.
Oh, I like Michael Kors myself.
But you know, people, and so if you don't have the finances and you know but you want those type of stuff, it can lead you to stealing, and
Yeah.
that can affect your character. You know, relationships can help you can affect your character. If you're in a bad relationship, or you're in a relationship where people are, you know, encouraging you to steal, you know, that can really affect your character. So you have to guard your heart. You have to guard your heart. You have to be careful what you're taking in. You have to be careful of what you're taking in, because what you take in, you know, it's gonna spill out. What goes in have to come out. And so if you take in negative stuff, negative things are gonna come out. You're around people who talk negative all the time, you're going to become that negative person as well. But if you're around positive people, you're taking in positive stuff, you're taking in the word, you're eating good stuff, you're eating and then you're exercising. That's positive. You're eating and then you're sitting back. You put on weight. That could be a negative. Heart attack, hypertension, diabetes, you know. So you have to be careful what you're putting into you. What you put in, you're gonna get out.
That's right.
So those just touching those three, social media, finances, and relationships. And there's a whole lot more stuff that we could talk about in terms of what can really test your character. Your environment can test your character. If you're in a bad environment, if you're around people who are doing bad things, you're sitting on the block hanging with the wrong crowd. A lot of times you hear people are dead, they got shot, or they get stabbed, or they're in a fight because they were hanging with the wrong crowd. The first thing you hear, they were hanging with the wrong crowd. We don't want you to be statistic. Hang with going back to flying with eagles. If you're flying with eagles, so you got to stay away from those things that will test you, that will test your character. During this time of we're 2 weeks away from Easter.
Yes.
So we're still in a season of Lent, and for me as an Episcopalian or Anglican, I normally give up certain stuff for Lent, and so because I do that, then I know I don't want to go where I don't want to. If you give up coffee or you give up pastry, why are you going to go to a bakery? Why are you going to go to Starbucks? Got to stay away from it.
Right.
Right. So just I mean, that's just a little minor stuff. So you have to kind of watch your environment as well. Because that can really lead to testing your character and putting your fate or your fate to the test. And if you're not strong, many have fallen. I've fallen too. I'm not the strongest, but I know that if I know that something is bad for me and it's across the street, I'm gonna go down the road. I'm not gonna cross the street.
Right.
I'm gonna avoid it. My mom taught us, when I was growing up, if you see someone fighting one way, you go the next way. You don't know where a stray bullet's gonna hit.
That's right.
So you have to avoid stuff as best as possible because the devil is busy, and he's here to steal and destroy. And if you make it easier for him by hanging out in places where he's stealing and destroying people, you're just another statistic.
That's right. Yeah. It's making it hard to making it easy to fail.
Yeah. If I'm gonna fall, you got to come at me hard for me to fall. I'm not gonna make it easy for you. So you have to put yourself in places where, where like I said, if he's coming after you, he's gonna have to come in hard in the paint.
Yeah, that's just like the new thing, and I'm probably gonna say it wrong, but is it called takeover? Is that what it's called?
Oh, takeover parties, takeovers.
Yeah, with everybody is like on malls or different
Yeah,
people, places.
takeovers. Yeah.
Okay, so that just sounds like trouble. I guess it's relatively new, but I know I'm only aware of it because I've seen it on the news. We had another incident, and this happened, and that happened. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
No.
And that's a bunch of people who are being followers and not being leaders. If you're either a follower, you're either a sheep or you're a lion. And if you're a sheep and you go into a lion's den, you're gonna get devoured.
That's right. You are so right. And I like this, what Yvonne put in up here. Good character from Proverbs 22:1. A good name is more desirable than great riches. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold.
That's
Amen
right.
to that. That's good. Good stuff.
Miss
Thank
Yvonne is
you,
on it.
Yvonne, for sharing. Yeah, get yourself in trouble. All right.
Definitely.
And so I know when you were here last time, we talked a lot about mentors, but mentors can really, really help individuals get on that right track. But how do mentors themselves model faith, and why is this important when they're mentoring young men?
A mentor has to be authentic,
Mm,
especially when you're when people see you, you have to be you have to show people your true self because you know I was watching something else the other day. This pastor went to this hotel, and the lady at the front desk gave him a room without running water, and he went off on her, and he he went off, and then he was like, "Hey, are you still on the phone?" And she said, "Yeah, I'm still here." And she's like, "Yeah, I watch you every Sunday, and I just love your ministry or whatever." And so he went back to her and he apologized, and then a few weeks later he went to the church that the lady attended, and the pastor was like, "Yeah, when parishioner said that you stayed at a hotel," and so the pastor was like, what did she say about me?" And she said, "Oh, she just said that she loves you and she keeps she's praying for your ministry." And he said, "Pastor, let me tell you what I did to this young lady." And he confessed what he did. And the pastor was like, "That young lady doesn't know." One of the things that he said to her when he was defaming her, he said, your parents you shouldn't have been born," or something to that effect. And he told the pastor what he did, and he said, and she's still speaking good about him. But of course, he went and apologized. We have to show people that we too are humans as a mentor, and we don't have every day. Is a good day for us. We have bad days just like everybody else.
all right.
However, when we are bad, or we have those bad days, or when we fall, we're able to get back up, dust ourselves off, and continue to walk. Uh, Being a mentor is not just saying the right thing or doing the right thing. Is being able to show people that, hey, even like you, I fall as well, but I don't stay down. I get back up, I dust myself off, I continue towards the mark of the high calling. So it's so important to be authentic with young people and being a mentor, because really and truly people are watching. you know People are watching. The minute you say you're a Christian, or you're this or you're that, people are like, okay, let me see. And like I said earlier, you know it's not in the good times, it's in the hard times when you really have to show up. It's in the hard times, and sometimes we fail, and you have to show people that, hey, this life is not about a bed of rose. This life is hard sometimes, and we fall and we fail, but it's getting back up and dusting yourself off that really makes you who you are, and really builds character. you know Walking down that road every day, doing trying to do the right thing, and even when you fail, you can get up, dust yourself off, and find your way back on the straight and narrow path. So it's very important to be authentic as a mentor to mentees.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. This has been, uh, we've been dropping some great nuggets, and I know it's helpful information. So don't forget to share, share, share. It's not too late to share. We're going to close out with this. How does character affect success? How does character affect success?
Wow. So for me, character affects my success in this journey that we call life by it affected a lot. Uh, like I said, I've had a lot of people who poured into me, and they poured into me because they saw something, uh, one of themselves in me. Some in some instances, two, my spirit just came out, and they're, like when you walk into a room and someone just your spirit just take to the person from a conversation, and they're like, I'm gonna help this person. You know, I'm gonna try to whatever this person need, I'm gonna do for this person. And so for me being a success, uh, a lot of people poured into me. A lot of people poured into me. A lot of people prayed for me. A lot of people prayed with me. Uh, and not so much in the good times. It was in the hard times, in the bad times. It was when I was at my lowest. I had people who were there to pick me up. I'll give you a quick story. On a job, I was working in this department, and I had a new manager, and for whatever reason, she didn't like me, and she was giving me the fits. I mean, she was just, and I was performing. I'm performing. I was. They had we had base salary, and if you made certain criteria, you get a $500 a quarter bonus. And so I'm trying to pay my bills. I'm on it, but at every turn, she would just needle me, and it was really getting to me. And one day I was at my wits end, and I went to a friend, and I'm like, I'm about to walk off this job. I'm just, I've had it with her. And he looked at me, and he was a white guy. He looked at me and said, Sean, go sit back down. I'm coming to you. Give me about 5, 10 minutes. Go sit back down. Go sit back down. Go back to work. I said, okay. I went back to my desk, and I continued working. His boss went over to that my supervisor's and into her office, and my friend came to me and said, "Hey, pack up your stuff. We got you." Normally, in this department I worked in, if you were getting transferred or you left, they would be like, "All right, we want 2 weeks," or "All right, no, we want to keep them for a week because we're busy right now." They took me right away. They took me right away. I was at my wit's end. I was about to leave, but my friend, he's gone now. But Calvino came and got me. He said, "Come on, you with us." And so I changed departments just like that. And so that was grace. Calvin was a really good guy. Uh, and if he didn't like you, he'll tell you, I don't like you, but I'm going to still help you. He was just one of those type of guys. He's straight up. I don't like you, but I'm going to still help you. So that day, I went from our membership department to our IT department. And I was on that particular job until they outsourced our department, and a new company bought the corporation. But uh, that was grace. That was God's grace, because I would have quit and just was I wasn't getting along with the supervisor, and I was gonna just pick up and quit. But he had Calvin there for me to really. Calvin went into his manager's office and said, "Hey, we need this guy in our department." And that supervisor over there, she's crazy. Go and get him. And just like that, I have a number of different stories where people were placed in my life just to, you know, that God sent them, for me to walk on the side of. You know, uh, Calvin is one of the reasons why today I have my own company. Him, and another guy and myself, we started our company. Party DJ Dallas, and we've been going almost 30 years. So God will put people in place to help you to walk. Sometimes you got to listen. Sometimes you just got to close your mouth and just listen. My wife often says, just get quiet. Sometimes you just need to get quiet.
All right.
And he'll do the rest.
Yeah, he'll fight your battles for you. But to put the icing on your story, I also want to say you're going to go back to character, because now had your friend not seen that you were an integrous employee, you were a good employee, now he wouldn't have put his name out there with his boss to go get you. But see, your character.
That's right.
You coming to work and doing what you're supposed to do, even though you was being beat down.
Yep.
You were doing what you were supposed to do.
Yeah, I pride myself in, and a lot of the people at the company, whenever they needed something, I was the person they called. In that department, they needed something, call Sean. So I took care of people. No problem, I got you. What you need, I got you. And so because of that, it spoke volumes for them to just come and get me.
Right.
Now, was I a computer guy? No, but they taught me, so I learned on the job. But yeah, I had something to back me up. I had a character to back me up. Definitely you needed something to back you up, and the character really spoke volumes for me. So yeah, had I not had I not had character, or you'd be like, all right, go. Too bad. All right.
Yes, and that is a great example to our young men. So we make sure that you share, because just think about that whole scenario and how that could have went so much the other way. Now, if Sean was someone who he was late, come in, start working, go down and get him a breakfast. Well, I gotta go get me breakfast. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. I gotta go get me something. I gotta take a break. Then he go to lunch. Supposed to be the lunch 30 minutes. He got to take 45 minutes. Supposed to get off at 4:30. He's sitting there waiting he's just sitting at the desk waiting till the clock say 4:30, and so he can click off. Then he's talking about, you know what? I'm tired of this person right here. I'm leaving. They would say, bye, see you. And then on top of that, anybody had a hard time getting a job somewhere else because they do ask for references.
That's right.
So you see your character, your integrity, those things are important. And then I think looking at my banner here, it takes 1 second to ruin a good reputation, while it takes blood, sweat, tears, and years to build or rebuild one.
That's for sure.
That's your name. Guard it. Do those things that you know are integrous. Follow basic principles. Follow biblical principles. Treat others. Like sometimes Sean said it earlier, sometimes you got to bite your tongue. Now, sometimes people make you so angry, but you have to bite your tongue.
We have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So sometimes we got to listen more than we speak.
That's right.
And yeah, a prime example, going back to an athlete, Klay Thompson talked about how he met Kobe Bryant. He was in the gym at 4:00 in the morning working out, and Kobe came in, because Kobe would be that's Kobe time to be in the gym, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. In fact, before everybody else, Kobe is in there working on his game. That's how he became better. So you got to be the first person in, the last person out. And then when you're called on to do extra, if they have overtime or they need help with something, you be that person. And I'll tell you, people will notice that, and people will rally around you when it's time when it's time for them. When it's time for you to either be promoted, or if you need help. Whenever you're the first person in, last one out, and that person goes above and beyond, you will get rewarded. So don't think, and it is hard work. It is hard work, but hard work pays off. Hard work definitely pays off.
Yes. Yes, thank you so much. This has been a great, great conversation. Again, I know you're tired of me saying share, but you need to share this because this was a great conversation with some golden nuggets that can help somebody out there. It can be your son, your grandson, your daughter, a friend, a neighbor. It will help someone. So that's what it's all about. That's why we have different individuals here on Build Your Best Life that have been there. They're living the life. Great mentors, educators, business people. That's why we're here. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. And Sean, as always, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Great. And we want you to join us Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5:30 Central Time for Let's Talk About It. Our fourth Thursday co-host is Kamara Goodson. She's also from Dallas, and we're going to be talking about So You Think You Want to Be Popular.
I'll be tuned in because you know something. You think about this. Think about this. Can I get it started? Kind of get it. Think about this, guys. You can go and walk in the mall with friends. You can go into a restaurant and sit down and eat your meal. Think about movie stars and superstars and ball players. You got security around you. You can't go to the mall and freely. You sitting down eating dinner and people barging up to you and wanting autographs. That's fame.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we look forward to seeing you on Thursday. And of course, if you can't make it, you got something else going on in life because life goes on. Remember, you can always go to Facebook, Build Your Best Life, or YouTube, Build Your Best Life, and check it out. So enjoy the rest of your day. Remember, building your best life is our business. That's not a slogan, it's our commitment. I love you. Be blessed. Stay safe. Stay warm. Stay cool off wherever you are. The temperature is going wow. So just be comfortable. All right. I love it. Have a good evening. Bye bye.
Bye, everybody.